Hi, welcome to Let's Chat. We would like to give a special thanks to River Valley Community Bank for sponsoring this show. I'm your host, Valerie Costa, and today with me I have Tom Tanner, CEO of Presenter Tech. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Valerie. I appreciate it.
And so tell me, what is Presenter Tech? What do you do?
Well, Presenter Tech, we manufacture and design robotic teleprompters and big TV broadcast pedestals like you might see in a TV station such as KCRA or KVR or something like that. And there are these big pedestals that are robotic and they have two axes. So they move up and down, they rotate, and they follow the talent. And so primarily those are our two products, but we also manufacture other products too.
What other products do you manufacture?
We manufacture a robotic microphone that sits on a lectern and it moves up and down. Yeah, so that's kind of helpful for a lot of people because when you're giving a speech, a lot of times you've probably been in a venue before where the speaker has the microphone maybe in their belly button or on their forehead, but it's not adjusted correctly. So what we essentially do is we have a robotic device that moves the microphone to the right level and it's silent. So for example, if you're at a conference and you see a microphone that's down here, we can move it up to the correct level so that the audio in the room is just perfect.
And is that something that has to be manually adjusted by some kind of technician, or does it just like know how tall you are?
No. It's all done by a technician in the back of the room. So essentially, the technician who's also running, for example, the camera or the video or something like that, they can adjust it because, see, they have the ability to look through the camera and say, oh, that person right there, their microphone level is too low, and we can actually raise it. So that's essentially what they can do.
Well, that's
robotically.
Cool. Yeah. So besides TV, what kinds of groups or businesses use robotic microphones and cameras?
Well, there's several different types of businesses, as well as, for example, houses of worship. So if you go to a church, different types of churches, they might have guest speakers come up and things like that. And the guest speakers may not know, hey, I actually have the microphone exactly right here for the best clarity and the sound. And so essentially they're a big client for us. Schools, higher education, colleges and universities are a big client of ours. That's not only just for the microphone, but also the teleprompter too. So for example, with the teleprompters, if you've gone to, and I'm sure you have, everyone has a commencement, graduation, but there's also convocations too, which is welcoming the students as well. And so a lot of times the president or the provost or the vice president or a student guest speaker will need to use the lectern. And in the olden days, they would use their paper notes or note cards or something like that, which is very 21st century. So what we're trying to do is keep people out of that and use actual teleprompters, which is a presidential style. And so what essentially is, if you've seen the President of the United States speak, and there's two pieces of glass on either side of the podium, that's what we make. In fact, we do make the one for the White House too. But, and that's another story, but our system's a little bit different in that our system moves up and down to adjust to any speaker height, and it articulates. And then when you're done with the speech, then it retracts so that the media can then take photos and you don't have these two pieces of glass in the way. And then essentially, if you have a question and answer session after the conversation, after the speech, then the media and the public can ask their questions without these two pieces of glass in the way.
Oh, well, that's very convenient.
Yeah, it works out really well.
And hopefully they're not part of the robots that are going to like rise up and take over the world.
Let's hope not.
I don't think a microphone can get very far, or a teleprompter. But that is really great. I can think of several applications, both in media and in those types of things, where that would be convenient and
you bet.
Applicable. So how long have you been here in Grass Valley? You're in Grass Valley, right? Not Nevada City?
We're in Grass Valley, and we started here about 7 years ago. We started with the contract for supplying the teleprompters for the White House.
Oh, wow.
That kind of got us off. That was like a big bang. And instead of a business where you start off producing a few products to here and there, and then you work your way up, we got the contract right off the bat with the White House, which was pretty amazing. So we sold over 100 of these systems to the White House. So now we're the official supplier to the White House, the United Nations, Apple, Chevron, state of California, and places like that.
So that's really interesting. Being a new business, how did you get such a huge contract before you were even established?
Oh, that's a good question. So what we did is I developed a prototype just in one of these Hewlett-Packard type of things where these guys do a product in their garage and then it gets shown. So what I did is I actually had someone that I knew in the film industry who worked with Lucasfilm down in Marin. And so my first ever prototype was used down in Marin at the ILM studios.
Oh, wow.
And the director of special effects, who's about 6'5", used it, and he really liked it. And then there was another lady who used it, and she was just over 5 feet, so I had to adjust. Mm-hmm. So they liked it, and then a couple weeks later, then it got the opportunity to be shown at the Democratic State Convention. Mm-hmm. So at that time, I think it was Hillary Clinton or someone like that was speaking along with a few other folks, and she used it. Mm-hmm. And then it was being packaged behind the stage to be put away, and then some people from the White House came up and they said, "Who makes this thing?" And so at that time I hadn't started a business yet, and so the people there said, they ripped off a little piece of paper and they said, "Call this guy." So yeah, I did. So I got a call.
That wouldn't seem sketchy at all to a political
No.
aid.
So I got a call. It was a 202 area code. About a week later, and I thought they were joking because they said, "We're from the White House."
You're like, "Yeah, sure. What are you trying to sell me? You can't have my social security number."
Exactly. So, and then they said, "Well, we're interested in this thing you built." And then they said, "Well, how much does this cost?" And I said, "Well, I'll get back to you on that one." Mm-hmm. And so I called them back a few days later, gave them a price. Didn't hear from them again for, 2 weeks or so. And then they called up and they said, "How soon can we get 100 of these things?"
Wow.
Yeah. So then I thought, okay, this is serious.
Yeah, when the White House asked you for 100 of your product, that's pretty serious.
Yeah.
How exciting.
It was really exciting.
That must have been a shock.
It was. It was an amazing wake-up call because, see, I was working for another firm at the time. I was an engineer for a local company here. And then as soon as I got that contract, it was probably 3 days later, I turned in my resignation, and it was the best feeling in the world because I wasn't really happy with the manager I had at the time, so this was a great opportunity for me to start my own business.
Yeah, that's great. No more manager. Yeah. But now the headaches of being a business owner. But it sounds like
now I'm the manager.
Now you're the manager. Now you get to have other people be like, this guy better invent something that the White House wants soon.
That's right. Yeah. But you see, I like the aspect of inventing. And so we started off with one product, which we called the Telestepper because it's essentially a teleprompter that moves to different levels, so that's what we call it, a Telestepper, because it steps up and down. Since then, during COVID, what we had to do is go back to the drawing board because no one was buying these things because there's no live speeches,
no audience,
right?
Yeah.
So we developed another 4 or 5 products.
Wow.
And so then we came back and we renamed the company PresenterTech, which kind of encompasses everything that what we do, which is all robotic presentation products, including audio and teleprompting and big robotic pedestals too.
Yeah, that's exciting. What was the name before PresenterTech?
It was Telestepper.
Telestepper.
Yeah.
That makes me think of something like in the gym, like talking on the phone while you're
Yeah. Well, it actually there's another backstory behind that name because as an engineer, we use these little motors called stepper motors.
Oh.
And so from a nerdy point of view, we thought, okay, we're going to call it the teleprompter with a stepper motor, the telestepper. But see, it worked both ways because in the public, they don't know that. So they think, oh, hey, it steps up and down.
Yeah.
It's a telestepper.
Yeah, it works. It
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Is that still the name of that particular product?
It is.
That's good.
Yeah.
You got to keep that somehow.
Well, we're trying to. Yeah.
So what is next for Presenter Tech?
Gosh, we have some projects that are ongoing for rotational stages, which are controlled by PTZ camera controllers. And so essentially, if you have, say, for example, a Panasonic or a Sony camera or a Canon, any of these cameras, you might have seen, for example, there might be one in this room, but there's a PTZ camera, and they're little domed cameras that are usually on the ceiling. Like you'll see in conference rooms or board of directors meetings, and PTZ stands for pan, tilt, and zoom. So what we do is we have been able to use an off-the-shelf controller from, say, Sony to control not only their cameras, but also our robotics. And so now we've made it very simple and cost-effective to get into the industry of controlling robotics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's good, because when that robot uprising comes, we're going to need something to control them.
Now we're going to make sure that they don't have any control.
And if someone wanted to learn more, now, so are you needing employees? Are you good with that? Like, what do you need right now?
We could definitely use some employees. I think that we're in a period of growth. Well, yeah, definitely growth, where we need people, say, for social media, for sales, marketing, and things like that. One of the things that I made, I'll be honest, made a mistake with the business is in developing a product or inventing a product, you think, hey, once it's developed, people are going to come, rushing to your door. Well, that's not the case in reality. And so I've had to wear more of a business hat than an engineering hat in doing this. And so we're, I think, a little bit behind, or we could be further along in the marketplace if we were to have somebody who is more on the sales and marketing or the business side. And then I can leave that and then be more of an engineer, which I like doing.
I think I might know somebody for you, actually.
Oh, great.
And so if someone wanted to learn more about Presenter Tech, where would one do that?
Well, our website is presentertech.com.
I thought it might be, but
Yep.
you just had to make sure. It might have been telestepper.
Well, actually,
No.
you can go on telestepper.com too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the same website, or is it like the first version and then this is like the 2.0? Presenter Tech is 2.0.
It's an alias, so it reverts to
that's good.
Presenter Tech. Yeah.
That's smart to have both of them go there so that people can know.
It is, because we've kind of built a name in the industry as Telestepper, but we don't want people to think that this is the only product we make.
Yeah, that makes total sense. See, you're thinking like a businessman.
Well, I'm trying to. We just got our products onto B&H Photo Video. Some of the other people in the film industry might know them. They're kind of like the Amazon for audio, video, photography.
Oh.
And it's a big online reseller out of New York. There's two companies that actually, they're kind of related, Adorama and B&H. And so we're now on B&H. We have several products there.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, good for you. That's great. It sounds like you are growing by leaps and bounds. And
Well, we're trying to.
This is like the American dream success story. I just met you, and I'm very proud of you. Like,
Well,
this is what the land of opportunity is all about, right?
I appreciate it. I tell you, it's definitely a lot of work.
Yes.
And, this is one type of job where honestly, I could work 24/7 if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
And so you got to put up boundaries and say, okay, even though I really like doing this stuff, I gotta get back to reality and go to the gym or go to my, hang out with your friends or this and that.
Work-life balance. It's not just like a catchphrase cliche. It's really
Exactly.
important. So good for you. Good
Yes.
for you for recognizing that. Well, Tom, it was such a pleasure to meet you and learn more about Presenter Tech. If you want
Thank
to
you.
learn more about Presenter Tech, you can go to presentertech.com. Presenter, that's T-E-K, right?
That's right. Just Presenter Tech.
presentertech.com.
We had to be different, right?
Yes. Well, thank you again for being here and sharing your story.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us. I hope to see you at the next episode of Let's Chat.